Hi class, this is your teacher, Kitty Luce, and we are going to be doing a quick review of the databases that we looked at, and I'm also going to talk a bit about some stuff that's coming up in class. So first of all, Research Investigation 3 has been posted, and I'm going to take a quick look at that. If we go to Brightspace, it is posted in week, I think it's 13. Yep, that's right, week 13. So this is going to be a research investigation similar to the ones you've already done. You're going to look for 2 peer-reviewed articles. A couple of pointers. First of all, the Notes 11 that is due on Tuesday is about half the work of this assignment. So if you do a thorough job on that, you'll be in great shape. It is connected for a topic to economic aspects of oceans. Please do your best to develop a focused research question there. Some additional questions that were not included in the other research investigations are that I ask for you to identify the hypothesis for each article, the population studied, and the conclusion that the article comes to about that hypothesis. So that is some sort of extra stuff because it is peer-reviewed articles. I also want to remind you that when you are writing summaries, I really want you to write them in your words. Using quotes is not forbidden. I don't tell you absolutely not to do it, but I really want to know your thoughts about the article, what you see as what the article is about, instead of just giving me quotes from the article itself. That's not really what I'm looking for there. So if you have any questions, be sure to ask. The way to do well on this assignment, like every assignment, is to make sure you read the assignment carefully and to ask if you have questions. If you are not sure if your articles are good, please just send me the link and I will take a look. So just ask questions. That is a good idea there. Okay, so the other thing that I'm going to do during this very quick lecture is just a quick review of how to search and how to limit in some of the places we looked at this past class. Google Scholar, OneSearch, which is not actually a database, neither is Google Scholar, it's a form of a search engine. OneSearch, which is a federated search, and then a specific database. And I'll use Academic Search Premier, although a lot of what I'll look at can really be used in any database. And just remember to think about controlled vocabulary and subject headings and how they can help you find what you're looking for. So. Okay, so in class we looked at Google Scholar first. Google Scholar offers just a basic Google-like interface. If anything, it has actually fewer bells and whistles. So if I am looking for, say, ocean acidification, there's Google Scholar. My options for limiting are very few. It's basically by time. I can decide whether or not to include patents. A patent would be a patent filing with the US Patent Office for a technique. So that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for peer-reviewed articles, so I can take that away. It can be challenging in Google Scholar, depending on your search, to find the actual PDF of what you're looking for, but it does, in some ways, prioritize those with full text. And because I am not signed in, it doesn't know that I have access to Cal Maritime materials. But if you either set up your library settings in Google Scholar or are on campus within the firewall, you will see over here on the right, all of these articles have links to PDFs, which is wonderful, but you will also see links for accessing it through Cal Maritime. So that's Google Scholar. There isn't that much to show as far as the searching goes. Use words carefully to find what you're looking for. That's the main way you can narrow. You can use some of the tricks that are useful in Google in general, such as using quotation marks. But I think the more specific commands, such as cite, looking for specific types of websites or things like that, will not work here because you're looking for articles, not on websites, and I think it's also just not as useful a search there. But yes, definitely feel free to use quotation marks and maybe remove terms or use the sort of Boolean aspect of it if you can. All right, that was the very quick tour of Google Scholar. So OneSearch searches the library's holdings. It searches our printed books. It can search physical materials held by all CSU libraries, as well as what we have here. It also searches article databases. It does not do a perfect job, just because some of the databases, especially the ones that have materials in a variety of formats, such as data sets, federal codes, different things that are not really like an article, it doesn't search as well. So you can start out with a very general search. Remember that the databases are more demanding as far as spelling things correctly than Google is. So I had to fix that spelling right there. So I have 17,000 results. That's quite a bit. If you look on the left, and sometimes what we call facets, the ability to narrow your search within the results that you found, are on the right. Often they're on the left. So available in the library would probably take me 2 books. I can limit to peer-reviewed journals. I can limit to full text online. I'm going to limit to full text online because I don't want to waste my time, given that I did find a lot of peer-reviewed journals looking for things that I can't actually get. So I can, again, move within this and limit to peer-reviewed journals. So if you look on the left under active filters over here, it says full text online and peer-reviewed journals. So that's taken my numbers down a bit. For the Notes 11, I'm asking you to limit your results in at least a couple of days, and preferably to use the subject headings. You can limit by year if I'm looking for subject. And remember that this will limit by subject within my results. So I've already done a keyword search, so it's pulled up articles that contain the words ocean acidification. I did not put quotes, so the word ocean and the word acidification might be far away from each other. So I could choose to look at something specific within it, for instance, and I'm not saying that any of these are going to be perfect, but maybe I want to look really at the biological side of it. So that will narrow my searches further. For Notes 11, I ask you to give me a screenshot of your search screen that shows me the filters. If your screenshot, and there was a question in class, I think it was William, about whether the URL needs to be there. If the way you take a screenshot doesn't include the URL, but I can still see clearly the top of your screen with all this information about where you are, that you're in the Cal Maritime OneSearch, and that you've used the facets, then that's fine. Even if I can't see the URL, I mainly use the URL when people seem to be in the wrong place to figure out where they actually are. Okay, so also I ask you to find a specific article, and if you can have a research question in mind and find articles that move you toward understanding that question better, perhaps even answering that question, then choosing articles that will be useful for that will help you when it comes to Research Investigation 3, because you'll be able to use the same articles. If you think you want to keep these articles, do keep notes or write down your search process, what you did, because then you will have really actually pre-done some of the work for Research Investigation 3. Okay, so finally, to look in a specific database, you go back to the library homepage, which is library.csum.edu, or you can get there from the college's homepage. Click on databases A through Z. There are two places where that is. It's under research help. It's also just under the one search box. And you can choose a database, can be any database. I'm using Academic Search Premier as an example because it is a good all-purpose database and it's sort of at the top of the list, which probably helps it be popular. I am off campus, so I'm being prompted for my Cal Maritime username and password. Also, just to let you know, I'm using Firefox on a Mac, so if my screen looks a little different from what you've got, that's why. So here in Academic Search Premier, we can search using the Boolean operators that we talked about quite a while ago. I can also choose my fields. This is an advanced search. It's very different from that single search box environment where you do something more like what we're used to doing with Google. This already has choices for me, and if you scroll down, you can save yourself some time. I can limit to full text. I can limit to scholarly journals. I can limit to articles so that I avoid things like book reviews. I can limit the number of pages so that I can avoid things that are short or things that are very, very long. I can limit by the published date. However, if I do want to limit by subject heading, I'm going to have to either look within the subject terms. You can see up at the top, I can look at the subject terms, or I can just do my search and see what terms come up. So ocean acidification, known to be a topic. So this one gave me actually no, this one says document type abstract. I was looking for actually for full articles, so let's do that. So what it did was it searched for documents that were abstracts, which meant the full article wasn't there. So I just clicked the wrong thing and ended up with something that didn't look right. So if you do experience that, be sure to just double check and look at your limiters over here on the side to see if you're if something's off, and that's why you got those results. So as you can see, some of these have PDF full text. The different articles offer a list of subjects. That's part of why I like to do a keyword search and then limit from there, just that I can find out about the different subject headings that are available. For instance, there's both ocean acidification and lake acidification and water acidification. So that's all sort of interesting stuff to know. But again, for your screenshot, be sure that I can sort of see the limiters that you used and the top of your screen where you put in your search terms. And that is about the end of this lecture. So good luck. Please send me an email if you have any questions. I'll be at a conference, but I will be reading email on Thursday and Friday. Have a lovely weekend and see you next week.